This gripping story revolves around a twisted and manipulative lady teacher who falls dangerously in love with one of her male students. The student, on the other hand, wants absolutely nothing to do with her because he is already deeply in love with his high school girlfriend. However, the school teacher is not someone who takes rejection lightly. What dark tricks and psychological games will this lady teacher play to trap this young boy under her control? Let's find out. The story begins by introducing us to a sweet and dedicated student named Jamie Hall. It is the last day of the college semester for her current class teacher, and Jamie warmly presents her with a farewell gift. Curious about the future, Jamie asks her teacher, "Who is going to replace you and teach us next semester?" The outgoing teacher smiles and assures her, "Your new teacher is going to be Molly. She is highly intelligent, incredibly talented, and very good at her job." As they are having this friendly conversation, the principal walks into the hallway, giving Molly a grand tour of the entire college campus. While observing the students, Molly's eyes suddenly lock onto a handsome boy playing outside. This student is Danny. Instantly, a dark and obsessive infatuation ignites within Molly the very moment she lays eyes on him. What Molly does not know yet is that Danny is already deeply committed to Jamie Hall, and both Jamie and Danny happen to study in the exact same class that Molly is about to take over. Following this, we see a heartwarming scene between Danny and Jamie Hall. The young couple is incredibly excited because their relationship anniversary is just around the corner, and they are secretly planning to become physically intimate for the very first time on that special night. Next, the movie gives us a glimpse into Jamie Hall's troubled household. Her father, Stephen Hall, is a deeply irresponsible man who sits at home all day, completely detached from reality, constantly playing video games on his laptop. Meanwhile, Jamie's hardworking mother, Lauren Hall, is forced to work grueling double shifts just to cover the family's basic household expenses. Jamie absolutely hates seeing her mother suffer like this, but out of fear and respect, she remains quiet and cannot muster up the courage to confront her father, Stephen Hall. The next day in class, Molly goes to introduce herself to the students. However, instead of focusing on the syllabus, her eyes are completely fixed on Danny the entire time. As soon as the bell rings and the class ends, Molly deliberately stops Danny. She uses her authority to manipulate him, claiming that he seems incredibly weak in his academic studies and desperately needs to take extra classes after school, wanting to maintain good grades. Danny reluctantly agrees to Molly's proposal for extra tutoring. Molly takes advantage of the moment, making Danny sit close to her. She whispers seductively, "If you want to secure admission into a prestigious university, you need to start attending my private classes from tomorrow." In reality, this is nothing but a calculated trap designed by Molly to get physically close to Danny. However, Danny politely declines the class for the next day, explaining that tomorrow is a highly important relationship anniversary for him and Jamie Hall. Hearing the name of another woman completely ruins Molly's mood, and jealousy begins to consume her. Before Danny leaves the classroom, Molly smoothly convinces him to give her his personal phone number under the guise of academic communication. Once she returns to her house, Molly's mind becomes entirely consumed by dark thoughts of Danny. She begins plotting sinister ways to tear Danny and Jamie Hall apart forever. Soon, a wicked idea crosses her mind. The very next day, Molly intentionally gives Jamie Hall a humiliating C grade on her assignment, despite Jamie's hard work. Jamie feels completely crushed and heartbroken by this unfair grading. After class, Jamie approaches Molly privately, pleading her case. "Teacher, I come from a struggling middle-class family. I desperately need top grades to get into a good university so I can qualify for a scholarship to ease my mother's burden." Seeing Jamie exactly where she wants her, Molly plays her card. "If you want a grade, you must stay back and completely rewrite this assignment by tomorrow morning." Jamie desperately tries to explain that tonight is her highly anticipated anniversary with Danny. Molly looks at her coldly and asks a manipulative question. "What is more important for your future, Jamie? Celebrating a silly anniversary or securing your college grades for a scholarship?" Unable to argue with her teacher, Jamie leaves the room in tears. She later meets Danny and breaks the bad news, apologizing profusely because she has to spend the night locked in her room finishing the assignment to save her future. Danny, who had been eagerly waiting to get close to Jamie tonight, loses his temper and walks away in a fit of immense anger. Sensing the perfect opportunity to strike while Danny is vulnerable, Molly approaches him shortly after his fight with Jamie. She invites him out for a comforting dinner, and a frustrated Danny accepts. They arrive at a quiet restaurant where Molly begins subtly probing into his romantic life. Danny hesitates at first, but eventually vents his frustrations, confessing that nothing physical has happened between him and Jamie Hall yet, because Jamie just isn't ready to take that step. Hearing this, Molly immediately understands exactly what Danny is craving. She moves in closer, attempting to seduce him right there at the table. However, Danny still feels a sense of loyalty and pulls back, quickly heading home. The next morning, Jamie Hall meets Danny at school and anxiously asks him where he went after their argument. Danny looks her in the eye and lies, claiming he spent the night hanging out with his male friends. This lie breaks Jamie's heart because Danny's friends had already informed her that Danny was definitely not with them last night. A few days later, the students attend a lively party. Seeing how breathtakingly beautiful Jamie Hall looks, Danny loses all control over his desires. He pulls Jamie into a secluded private room and aggressively tries to become intimate with her. Feeling rushed and uncomfortable, Jamie firmly stops him in the middle of the act. Rejected and furious, Danny's mood is completely ruined, and he storms out of the party alone. Meanwhile, Molly executes the next phase of her plan. She intentionally sabotages her own car engine and places a distressed phone call to Danny, begging him to come help her. Wanting to be helpful, Danny drives out to her location and successfully fixes her car, but his hands end up covered in dark engine grease. Seizing the moment, Molly insists on taking him inside her house, gently cleaning his hands with a towel while pressing her body against his. This time, fueled by his anger toward Jamie and the seductive atmosphere, Danny succumbs to temptation. All boundaries are completely crossed, and the teacher and student become physically intimate. The following morning at college, Jamie Hall receives her rewritten assignment back, only to find that Molly has handed her an insulting C grade yet again. Jamie is utterly baffled because she knows her work was flawless. Seeking answers, Jamie walks down the hallway and notices an empty, quiet classroom. Peeking through the door, her heart drops. She sees Molly and Danny sitting suspiciously close to each other. A dark seed of doubt is planted in Jamie's mind. Determined to uncover the truth, Jamie secretly follows Danny after school. Her worst fears are realized when she watches Danny walk straight into Molly's house. Stepping onto the property, Jamie creeps up to the window and peeps inside. To her absolute horror, she witnesses Molly and Danny locked in a passionate, romantic kiss. Realizing that the boy she loved has been cheating on her with their class teacher, Jamie bursts into tears and flees the scene. However, Danny catches a glimpse of Jamie running away from the window. Panic strikes him, and he sprints out of the house to chase after her. Molly screams at him to stop, but Danny completely ignores her. He catches up to a crying Jamie Hall and begs for her forgiveness, swearing that it was a horrific mistake and promising never to touch Molly again. Seeing his desperation, Jamie's love for him wins, and she reluctantly forgives him. Later that night, Molly sends Danny a stream of romantic text messages, but Danny leaves her on read and completely ignores them. The next morning at college, Danny cuts all ties with Molly, walking right past her in the hallways as if she doesn't exist. Being publicly ignored drives Molly into a state of absolute psychological distress. She instantly realizes that Jamie Hall must have discovered their secret affair. In a desperate bid to play nice and cover her tracks, Molly abruptly awards Jamie a grade on her next paper. Jamie Hall confronts her boldly, stating, "Do not think for a second that giving me an A will buy my silence or make me forgive what you did." With supreme confidence, Jamie throws the assignment directly into the dustbin right in front of Molly's face and walks away. Shortly after, a stressed Danny approaches Jamie and confesses that Molly is borderline stalking him and won't leave him alone. He tells her, "I am going to meet her one last time tonight in a secluded area to officially end this nightmare." Danny sends Molly a text message, calling her to a deserted, dark location. Delusional with obsession, Molly assumes that Danny wants to meet for a secret romantic rendezvous. She gets dressed up, applies perfume, and arrives at the location filled with joy. However, her happiness instantly shatters into violent rage when Danny coldly informs her, "I only love Jamie Hall. You were a massive mistake, and I am completely finished with you." Molly breaks down, desperately trying to manipulate and convince Danny to stay, but Danny turns his back on her and walks away down the dark road. Consumed by a demonic wave of blinding fury and rejection, Molly hops into her car, slams her foot on the gas pedal, and deliberately plows her vehicle straight into Danny at full speed, crushing his body and killing him instantly on the spot. Molly quickly gets out of her car to execute a horrific cover-up. She takes a cloth, wipes Danny's fresh blood from her damaged bumper, and carefully smears the blood onto the bumper of Jamie Hall's parked car. To seal the frame up, she slips her own personal cell phone inside Jamie's car as well. Her sick plan is to make the authorities believe that a jealous Jamie Hall discovered the affair and murdered Danny in a fit of rage. To secure a flawless alibi, Molly drives straight to a local movie theater, buys a ticket. She carefully tucks the movie ticket into her purse so she can prove to the police that she was busy watching a movie at the exact time Danny was run over. Following this, Molly goes online and finds a shady, independent mechanic. She drives her damaged car to his garage in the dead of day, handing him a massive wad of cash to quietly repair her smashed bumper, and swears him to absolute secrecy. The next morning, the police discover Danny's cold, lifeless body on the road. An investigation is immediately launched. When Jamie Hall receives the horrific news of her boyfriend's brutal death, she collapses in grief. She rushes down to the police station and bravely tells the detectives, "I heavily suspect our class teacher, Molly. She was having an illicit affair with Danny, and he went to meet her last night to break it off for good." The police waste no time and head straight over to Molly's residence for intense questioning. Molly puts on a flawless, tearful performance, lying through her teeth. "Officer, nothing inappropriate ever happened between us. Danny was simply a brilliant student whom I mentored." She smoothly presents her movie theater ticket as an airtight alibi and sweetens the lie by claiming her personal cell phone was mysteriously stolen the night before. Blinded by Molly's solid alibi, the police turn their suspicion toward Jamie Hall. They obtain a warrant to search the Hall family residence. Upon inspecting Jamie's car, the detectives discover Danny's dried blood on the bumper, along with Molly's missing cell phone hidden inside, which contains the exact text message inviting Danny to the murder location. With overwhelming physical evidence pointing against her, the police arrest a screaming Jamie Hall for first-degree murder. Refusing to let her daughter take the fall, Jamie's fiercely protective mother, Lauren Hall, uses all their savings to secure Jamie's release on temporary bail. Jamie weeps to her mother, saying, "Mom, I swear I didn't do it. Molly killed him and framed me." Hearing her daughter's pain, Lauren Hall vows to dismantle Molly's life and gather real evidence to clear Jamie's name. Lauren Hall begins her dangerous investigation. She sneaks onto the college campus, finds the staff room, and quietly steals Molly's car keys directly out of her handbag. She rushes to the parking lot, opens Molly's car, and searches the glove compartment, eventually finding the invoice receipt for the shady, off-grid mechanic. Lauren Hall drives out to the remote garage and confronts the head mechanic, showing him a picture of Molly. However, having been heavily bribed, the mechanic lies straight to her face, claiming, "I've never seen this woman or her car in my entire life." Crushed and deeply saddened, Lauren turns around to leave the garage. But just as she steps outside, one of the mechanic's young employees secretly corners her in the shadows. The employee confesses the terrifying truth. That lady came here in the middle of the day with a severely smashed front bumper covered in blood. She paid my boss a fortune to fix it secretly and erase the shop records. Lauren Hall begs the young employee to repeat this statement to the police, but the worker tearfully refuses, terrified that she will be fired from the job she desperately needs to survive. Lauren Hall returns home and shares this critical information with her husband, Stephen Hall, while a quiet Jamie listens intently from the hallway. Jamie begs her mother to let her go to Molly's house to confront her, but Lauren Hall strictly forbids it. The police have fitted Jamie's ankle with an electronic GPS tracking monitor, meaning if she steps a single foot outside her home, the police will immediately swarm her. However, the moment her parents fall into a deep sleep later that night, a desperate Jamie slips out of the house alone. She arrives at Molly's dark residence, quietly activating the audio recorder on her cell phone, hoping to trap the teacher into a verbal confession. Unfortunately, Molly is far too clever. Within minutes of Jamie entering her home, Molly sees through the trap, physically overpowers Jamie, and violently snatches the phone from her hands. Believing she has completely won, Molly lets out a psychotic laugh and proudly boasts about her crime. "Yes, Jamie, I ran your precious boyfriend down and crushed him to death. And now, I am going to slaughter you too, and the police will just think you committed suicide out of guilt." Molly grabs a sharp, gleaming kitchen knife and lunges forward to plunge it into Jamie Hall's chest. But just as the blade is inches away, the front door is violently kicked open, and a squad of armed police officers burst into the room with weapons drawn. The police order Molly to drop the weapon immediately. The police immediately unlock Jamie Hall, throwing heavy steel handcuffs onto Molly's wrists. Screaming and losing her mind, the psychotic teacher is dragged away in the back of a police cruiser to face a lifetime behind bars for murder. Jamie Hall is completely exonerated of all charges, finally bringing peace to Lauren Hall and Stephen Hall as the movie ends on a powerful note of justice. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.